The small ship landed under cover of darkness. It looked nothing like human craft. Its hull curved like a teardrop and glowed faintly blue. The ship's lone passenger stepped onto Earth soil, looking up at the night sky with 3 anxious eyes. Jin had come a long way. His blue skin shimmered in the moonlight as he pulled his cloak tighter. He was not supposed to be here. No one from the Galactic Council was. "This way," said a human guard. "They're waiting for you." Jin followed the guard into a plain building. Inside sat 2 humans at a long table. On the left was General Han, her face stern and weathered from years of command. On the right sat Ambassador Kim, his suit crisp and his eyes sharp. "Welcome to Earth," said Ambassador Kim. "Though I understand this is not an official visit." Jin bowed slightly. "Thank you for meeting me. And you are right. The Council does not know I am here." "Then why risk coming?" asked General Han, leaning forward. Jin placed a small device on the table. It projected a hologram showing planets, ships, and battle scenes. "My people, the Aelori, are losing a war. The Vex Dominion attacks our worlds. Their weapons are too strong. Their ships too many." Ambassador Kim studied the images. The Galactic Council has kept humans out of space politics for decades. Why come to us now? Jin's 3 eyes blinked in sequence. "The Council fears humans. They say you are too unpredictable, too violent, too creative in war. But my people are dying. We need that unpredictability now." General Han watched the hologram show an Aelori city being destroyed. "The Council has better technology than Earth. Better ships, better weapons. What could we offer that they cannot?" "New ideas," Jin said simply. "All Council species think the same way. We follow rules of war that are thousands of years old. The Vex know our every move before we make it." Ambassador Kim glanced at General Han. They shared a look of understanding. "Show us more about your enemy," said General Han. For the next hour, Jin explained the war. The Vex Dominion had attacked Aelori worlds without warning. The Aelori fought back with help from allied council races, but they were losing badly. The Vex used new tactics that confused the Aelori commanders. "Our soldiers wait for orders. They follow plans made far away. When those plans fail, they do not know what to do next," Jin said with sadness in his voice. General Han nodded. "Human soldiers are trained to think for themselves when needed." "That is why I am here," Jin said. "We need human military advisors. Not many, just a few to teach us new ways to fight." Ambassador Kim stood up and walked to a window. "If we help you, the Council will be angry. They have kept us away from galactic matters for a reason." "They fear what they do not understand," Jin replied. "My people have no time for fear. We need help now." General Han looked at the ambassador. "A small team. Just advisors. No direct fighting unless attacked." Ambassador Kim thought for a long moment, then nodded. "I will speak with the president. If she agrees, we can send a team led by Colonel Ta. He is our best tactical mind." Jin bowed deeply. A gesture he had learned was important to humans. "Thank you. This gives my people hope." As Jin prepared to leave, General Han stopped him. "One question. If the Council has kept humans away because they fear us, why did they let you come ask for our help?" Jin's 3 eyes narrowed. "They did not. I came on my own. If they discover what I have done." He did not finish the sentence. Ambassador Kim nodded grimly. "Then we all must hope your mission remains secret, at least until Colonel Tai and his team can make a difference." Jin left as quietly as he had arrived. 3 days later, a small human ship quietly departed Earth, carrying Colonel Tai and 6 specialists. Their mission: help the Aelori win an unwinnable war. The Galactic Council was about to learn why humans should never be underestimated. Colonel Ta stepped off the ship onto the dusty surface of Sereth, a small moon where the Aelori had their forward command post. The air was thin but breathable. Around him, His team looked at the alien world with wide eyes. "Stay focused," Ta said to his team. "Remember why we're here." Major Sun, the military strategist, nodded. "This place looks like a disaster waiting to happen." She was right. The Alory base was built in straight lines with no cover. Soldiers moved in perfect formations. Everything was organized, but too predictable. Jin led them to a large building in the center of the base. "Commander Du is waiting to meet you." Inside, an Alory with dark blue skin and decorated armor stood at a large table. 3 eyes blinked in sequence as the humans entered. "These are the humans?" Commander Du asked, looking unimpressed. "They are smaller than I expected." Colonel Ta stepped forward. "Size isn't everything, Commander. We're here to help." Du waved a 4-fingered hand over the table, and a map appeared in the air. "The Vex control these areas. They attack in waves, always the same pattern. We retreat, regroup, and counterattack." Major Sun frowned. "And it's not working." "We have lost ground for 6 straight months," Du admitted. Sergeant Choi, the engineer, was looking at Alory weapons on a rack nearby. "These are energy weapons, but the design is simple. I could improve them." "Our weapons are based on designs used for 1,000 years, Du said proudly. Major Sun and Colonel Ta shared a look. That was part of the problem. "We'd like to see the front line," Ta said. Commander Du seemed surprised. "It is very dangerous. The Vex could attack at any time." "That's exactly why we need to see it," Ta insisted. An hour later, they stood on a ridge overlooking a valley. In the distance, they could see the Vex positions. Their ships were sharp and angular, unlike the smooth Alory craft. "They have energy shields," Dr. Lee said, looking through binoculars. "And their weapons are more advanced." Major Sun shook her head. "But look at their positions. They're as predictable as the Alory. They expect attacks from the front only." Before Colonel Ta could respond, alarms blared across the base. Red lights flashed. "Vex ships approaching." An Alory soldier shouted, "Standard attack formation." Colonel Ta watched as the Alory scrambled into their defensive positions. Perfect lines, perfect order, and perfectly predictable. The first Vex shots hit the command building. The Alory fired back, but their shots bounced off the Vex shields. "This is going to be a massacre," Major Sun said. Colonel Tai made a quick decision. "Not if we can help it. Sun, take 3 Alory squads and circle around to the East Ridge. Choi, can you overload their base power generator to create a distraction?" Sergeant Choi grinned. "Give me 5 minutes." "Dr. Lee, what can you tell me about Vex vision?" "Their species sees movement better than static objects," Dr. Lee said quickly. "Perfect." Ta grabbed an Alory communication device. "Commander Du, I need your troops to stop shooting on my mark and hold completely still for 30 seconds. "That is not in our battle protocols." Du protested. "That's why you're losing," Ta shot back. "Trust me." 5 minutes later, the base generator exploded, sending a massive power surge through the base. As the Vex turned to look, Ta gave the signal. All Alory troops stopped firing and froze in place. The confused Vex hesitated. In that moment, Major Sun's flanking group opened fire from the side, hitting the Vex where their shields were weakest. "Now!" Ta shouted, and the main Alory force began firing again. Caught between 2 fires and confused by the unusual tactics, the Vex retreated. When the dust settled, Commander Du approached Colonel Ta, his 3 eyes wide. "You changed the plan during battle," he said, sounding shocked. "You did not follow protocols." "That's how humans fight," Ta explained. "We adapt." From a distance, a Vex commander watched through a scope. He sent a message to his superiors. "Humans are on the battlefield. They do not fight like the others. They do not follow patterns." The Galactic Council was about to receive very disturbing news. The Alory High Command gathered in their meeting room. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Commander Du stood at the front, his 3 eyes blinking nervously. "The humans helped us win a battle," he said, "but their methods are disturbing." The highest commander, Grand Marshal Park, leaned forward. "Explain." "They do not follow proper battle plans. They change tactics during the fight. They do not wait for orders from above." Colonel Tai and Major Sun sat quietly at the side of the room. They had been invited to the meeting, but told not to speak unless asked. Grand Marshal Park turned to them. "Is this how all humans fight?" Colonel Tai stood. "Yes. We adapt to what happens on the battlefield. Plans are good, but they must change when the situation changes." The Alori commanders looked troubled by this idea. In another part of the base, Sergeant Choi worked with Alori engineers. He had taken apart several of their weapons and was putting them back together differently. "What are you doing?" asked an Alori engineer. "Those weapons have the same design for 1,000 years. "That's exactly the problem," Choi said, not looking up from his work. "Your enemies know exactly what to expect." He held up a modified weapon. "I've changed the energy output. Now it pulses instead of making a steady beam. It should penetrate Vex shields better." The Alori engineer looked shocked. But no one approved this change. Choi smiled. "Sometimes it's better to ask forgiveness than permission." Across the base, Dr. Lee studied the history and biology of the Galactic Council races. What she found fascinated her. "Colonel," she said when Ta visited her lab, "I figured out why these species fight the way they do. Almost all Galactic Council races evolved from herd or pack animals. They naturally follow leaders and stay in groups." "And humans?" Tai asked. "We evolved as adaptable omnivores. We can act in groups or alone. We're more unpredictable because our survival often depended on solving new problems." Ta nodded. "That explains a lot. Can you use this information to help us predict their tactics?" "Already working on it," Dr. Lee said with a smile. That evening, a new ship arrived at the base. It was sleek in silver, bearing the marks of the Galactic Council. A tall, thin alien with gray skin stepped out. He had 2 large eyes and wore elaborate robes. "Counselor Mun," Jin whispered to Colonel Ta. "He represents the neutral species in the Galactic Council. This is not good. Someone has reported your presence here." Counselor Mun approached them. His voice was soft but cold. "Humans, the Council did not authorize your involvement in this conflict." Colonel Ta stood straight. "We were invited by the Alori." "By one Alori, without permission," Mun corrected. "I am here to observe and report back to the Council. Your species has been excluded from galactic politics for good reasons." "And what reasons are those?" Major Sun asked boldly. Mun's large eyes narrowed. "Humans do not understand the delicate balance of galactic peace. You are too chaotic." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared. A communication officer ran up to Commander Du. "The Vex are attacking our colony on Lyra. They've changed their tactics. They're not following their usual patterns." Colonel Ta looked at Counselor Mun. "It seems the Vex can adapt too. Now more than ever, the Alori need our help." Mun watched as the humans sprang into action. Colonel Ta began giving orders, reorganizing defense plans on the fly. Major Sun gathered a special team of Alori soldiers she had been training to think more independently. Sergeant Choi distributed his modified weapons. "Fascinating," Mun whispered, taking notes. "They function without rigid hierarchy. Each human knows their role without constant direction." As the response team prepared to leave for Lyra, Mun stepped in front of Colonel Ta. "I will accompany you," he said. "The Council must see firsthand what humans do on the battlefield." Colonel Ta nodded. "Good. Maybe then they'll understand why keeping humans isolated was a mistake." As their ship took off, Jin approached Dr. Lee, who was staying behind. "The Council fears what they've done," Jin said quietly. "There are secrets about humans they don't want revealed." Dr. Lee looked at him sharply. "What secrets?" "Keep searching the archives," Jin said. "You're already on the right path. In space, the battle for Lyra was about to begin. And for the first time, the Galactic Council would witness human warfare up close. The battle for Lyra was not going well. Vex ships filled the sky. Their ground troops pushed forward in new formations. They had learned from their earlier defeat. Colonel Ta watched from a hill above the main colony. Beside him stood Counselor Mun, recording everything with a small device. "Your Alory allies will lose this battle," Mun said calmly. "The Vex have adapted." Ta smiled. "So will we." He activated his comlink. "Major Sun, are your special teams in position?" "Yes, Colonel," came the reply. "Ready on your mark." For the past week, Major Sun had trained small groups of Alory soldiers to fight differently. She taught them to make decisions without waiting for orders, to think for themselves. "Sergeant Choi, status on the pulse weapons." "Distributed to all teams, sir, and I've got a surprise ready for the Vex shields." Ta nodded. "Begin Operation Wildcard." Across the battlefield, things started to change. Small teams of Alory soldiers moved differently than before. They didn't stand in lines. They didn't attack head-on. Instead, they slipped behind Vex lines in small groups. They hit supply depots. They cut communication links. Counselor Mun watched with wide eyes. "What is happening? This is not how the Alory fight." "It is now," Ta said. In the main colony, Sergeant Choi activated a device he had built. It sent out an electromagnetic pulse that washed over the battlefield. Suddenly, the Vex shields flickered and died. "Now," Ta ordered. All across the battlefield, Alory soldiers fired their modified weapons. The pulsing energy beams cut through the Vex armor. For the first time in the war, the Vex troops began to retreat in disorder. Counselor Mun was speechless. He had never seen a Vex retreat before. As the battle turned, a large Vex ship tried to escape. Major Sun's voice came over the comm. "Colonel, the Vex command ship is getting away. They have battle plans and intelligence on board." Ta made a quick decision. "All teams converge on my position. We're going to capture that ship." "That is not possible," Mun said. "No one has ever captured a Vex vessel." "There's a first time for everything," Ta replied. Using an Alory transport, Colonel Ta led a mixed team of humans and Alory soldiers in pursuit of the Vex command ship. Sergeant Choi used his pulse device to disable the ship's engines. In a daring move, they boarded the enemy vessel. The fight inside was fierce but quick. The Vex, used to fighting at a distance, were not prepared for close combat. Within 20 minutes, the ship was theirs. "Download everything from their computers," Ta ordered. As the data transferred, an Alory soldier found something unexpected. A communication log between the Vex commander and someone on the Galactic Council. "Colonel, you need to see this," the soldier said. Ta read the message and looked at Counselor Mun. "Did you know about this? The Vex are getting information from someone on the Council. They knew about our tactics before we used them." Mun's gray skin paled. "That is not possible. The Council is neutral in this conflict. The evidence says otherwise," Ta said, holding up the data. "Someone wants the Alory to lose this war." Back at the Alory base, Dr. Lee had made a discovery of her own. Deep in the archives, she found records of other species that had once helped the Alorian wars. Species that later disappeared from galactic records. "Jin," she called to the Alory diplomat. "What happened to these other helper species? The Krith, the Novan, the Trell?" Jin looked away. "They served their purpose, then they were contained. For the good of galactic peace." Dr. Lee felt a chill. "And is that what the Council plans for humans too?" Before Jin could answer, news arrived of the victory at Lyra and the captured Vex ship. The tide of the war was turning. But Colonel Ta knew they had stumbled onto something bigger than one battle, bigger than one war. The Galactic Council had secrets, and humans were never meant to discover them. The news of the Vex defeat at Lyra spread quickly. For the first time in the war, The Alory celebrated a major victory, but the celebration didn't last long. 3 days after the battle, Colonel Tai received an urgent call from an Alory outpost. The message was broken and filled with static. "They're using some kind of gas. Everyone is sick. Please help." The message cut off. Colonel Tai gathered his team immediately. "The Vex are using biological weapons," he told them. "They're targeting Alory civilians now." Major Sun shook her head. "That breaks every rule of warfare in the Galactic Council Code." "Rules change when you start losing," Sergeant Choi said grimly. Dr. Lee entered the command room, carrying a data tablet. Her face was pale. "Colonel, I need to speak with you and Ambassador Kim privately." They moved to a small room away from the others. Dr. Lee placed her tablet on the table. It showed ancient records from the Alory archives. "I've been researching the species I found in the old records," she said, "the ones that helped the Alory in past wars. They all followed the same pattern. They were isolated species, brought in to help win a difficult war. And then..." "Then what?" Ambassador Kim asked. "Then they disappeared, either placed under strict quarantine on their home planets or relocated to controlled environments." Dr. Lee looked at them both. "Humans weren't kept isolated because we're dangerous. We were being saved for when we might be useful." Colonel Ta frowned. "You're saying the Galactic Council keeps species like us as tools, to be used when needed?" "Exactly," Dr. Lee said. "And once the tool has served its purpose, it's put back in the drawer or thrown away." Ambassador Kim stood up. "We need to confront Jin with this information." They found Jin in the communication center, sending urgent messages about the biological attack. When they showed him the evidence, his 3 eyes blinked rapidly. "I did not know the full truth," Jin said finally. "I only knew we needed help, and humans might provide it." "But you suspected," Ambassador Kim pressed. "You knew there was a reason humans were kept away from galactic politics." Jin looked down. "Yes, some on the Council have engineered conflicts for thousands of years. They test species against each other. They maintain what they call the balance. By using primitive species as pawns," Colonel Ta said angrily. "And what happens to us after the war?" Ambassador Kim asked. Jin couldn't meet their eyes. "If you win too decisively, the Council will see humans as a threat. They will take steps to contain your species." A loud alarm interrupted them. On the main screen, reports showed Vex ships dropping canisters over Alory colonies. People were falling sick by the thousands. "We can deal with the Council's games later," Colonel Ta said. "Right now, we need to stop this attack and help those people." Ambassador Kim nodded. "I'll contact Earth. They need to know what's happening." As they left the room, Counselor Mun watched from the shadows. He had heard everything. He sent a private message to certain members of the Galactic Council. "Humans have discovered the pattern. They know about the containment protocols. This changes everything." Back on Earth, the United Defense Coalition received Ambassador Kim's report. They saw images of sick and dying Alory civilians. They read Dr. Lee's findings about the Council's manipulation of species. General Han brought the information to the President. "We have a decision to make. Do we withdraw our people now that we know the Council's game, or do we commit more forces to the conflict?" The President looked at the images of suffering Alory. "If we withdraw, the Alory will lose, and the Council will continue manipulating species. If we commit more forces, we risk being seen as too dangerous afterward." "There is a third option," General Han said. "We show the Council that humans are not just another tool to be used and discarded. We establish ourselves as a power they cannot manipulate." The President nodded slowly. "Prepare the fleet. It's time the Galactic Council learned why humans should never be underestimated." The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Reports of human involvement in the Alory-Vex conflict had reached every member. The circular room buzzed with angry voices. "The humans were never supposed to know about us yet," shouted one counselor. "They were meant to be observed, not engaged," said another. At the center of the storm stood Counselor Munn. His report had caused the uproar. "The humans are not just helping the Aelori," he told the council. "They are learning our secrets. They know about the pattern of containment. They know some of you have been manipulating species for millennia." An older counselor stood. "Then we must act quickly. Send ships to Earth. Establish a quarantine before they can send more forces." "It is too late," Munn said. "Earth has already voted to commit significant forces to the conflict." On the Aelori homeworld, Ambassador Kim faced Counselor Munn in a private meeting. Colonel Ta stood beside him. "The Council has sent me to negotiate," Munn said. "We offer Earth-limited Galactic Council membership if you withdraw your forces immediately." Ambassador Kim smiled without humor. "And then what? Once the Aelori lose, you put Earth under containment like you did to the Krith and the Novan." Munn blinked in surprise. "You know more than I expected." "We know enough," Colonel Ta said. "Enough to understand the Council's game." "This is not a game," Munn insisted. "It is about maintaining galactic stability. Some species are too disruptive to allow free movement among the stars." "You mean some species don't follow your rules?" Ambassador Kim said. "Some species can't be controlled." "The offer stands," Munn said, ignoring the comment. "Limited membership now, or consequences later." "We have a counteroffer," Ambassador Kim said. "Earth will help the Aelori win this war. Then we will take our rightful place in galactic affairs. Not as your tool, but as your equal." Munn's expression darkened. "The Council will not accept this." "They won't have a choice," Colonel Ta said. In deep space, a fleet of Earth's warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Aelori space. 20 ships, led by the massive flagship Defiance. On the bridge stood Admiral Ju, a woman with stern eyes and gray-streaked hair. "Status report," she ordered. "All ships present and accounted for." "Admiral," her second-in-command replied. "Weapons and defenses at full capacity. The Aelori have sent coordinates for our rendezvous." Admiral Ju nodded. "Send a message to all ships. We are not here just to win a war. We are here to establish humanity's place in the galaxy. The Galactic Council thought they could use us as pawns. We will show them that humans are not pieces on their board." On the Aelori homeworld, news of the Earth fleet's arrival spread quickly. Jin rushed to find Colonel Tai and Ambassador Kim. "Earth has sent ships?" Jin asked, his 3 eyes wide with shock. "How many?" "Enough," Ambassador Kim said. "Enough to make a difference." "The Council will see this as an act of aggression," Jin warned. "Good," Colonel Ta said. "Let them worry about us for a change." In the medical center, Dr. Lee worked with Aelori doctors to develop treatments for the victims of the Vex biological weapons. Surgeon Choi had modified their equipment to produce new medicines faster. "We can save most of them," Dr. Lee told Colonel Ta when he visited. But the Vex knew exactly how to target Aelori biology. Someone gave them that information. "Someone on the Council," Ta said grimly. As Admiral Ju's fleet approached, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. The debate was heated. "We cannot allow humans to establish themselves as a galactic power," one counselor shouted. "We may have no choice," Counselor Munn replied. "They have discovered our methods. They know how we've manipulated species. Then we must make an example of them," said a counselor from the shadows. "Show the galaxy what happens to species that defy the Council's will." Across the stars, the pieces were moving into place. The Vex prepared for the human fleet. The Aelori gathered their forces, and Earth was about to announce its arrival on the galactic stage in a way the Council would never forget. Admiral Ju stood on the bridge of her flagship Defiance. Around her, officers worked at their stations. On the main screen, she could see the Vex fleet in the distance. "They outnumber us 3-1, her second-in-command said. Admiral Ju nodded. "Numbers aren't everything. Open a channel to Colonel Ta." Colonel Tay's face appeared on screen. He was on the Alori command ship. "Admiral, good to see you," he said. "Likewise, Colonel. Are the Alori ready for our plan?" "As ready as they'll ever be. They've never fought this way before." Admiral Ju smiled. "Neither has the enemy. That's our advantage." For 3 days, Ju had worked with Tai to create a new battle strategy. It was unlike anything the Alori or Vex had ever seen. It didn't follow the rules of warfare the Galactic Council had used for thousands of years. "All ships implement battle plan chaos," Ju ordered. The Earth fleet broke formation. Instead of moving in ordered lines like Galactic ships, they scattered in seemingly random patterns. The Vex commanders were confused. They couldn't predict where the Earth ships would go. On the Alori homeworld, Major Sun trained elite Alori pilots. "Don't fly in formation. Each of you choose your own path. Be unpredictable." The pilots looked nervous but followed her instructions. Their ships joined the battle, weaving between the larger vessels. In her laboratory, Dr. Lee worked with Alori scientists. They had created an algorithm that could predict Vex tactics. It used human patterns of thinking that the Vex couldn't understand. "The Vex always follow certain patterns," she explained to the Alori. "They think we'll do the same, but humans don't. We create chaos the enemy can't predict." Sergeant Choi had modified the Alori ship's communication systems. "Now the Vex can't listen to our transmissions," he told Admiral Ju. "And I've created drones that send false signals to confuse them." As the battle raged in space, Colonel Tai prepared for the most daring part of the plan. He stood in a small hangar with 20 human and Alori soldiers. "We're going to board the Vex command ship," he told them. "Our goal is to capture their central computer. It contains all their battle plans, and more importantly, proof of who in the Galactic Council has been helping them." The team boarded a special ship Sergeant Choi had designed. It was small and fast, with technology that made it hard to detect. In space, Admiral Ju's ships created a diversion. They attacked the Vex fleet from multiple directions at once. The Vex commanders couldn't decide where to focus their defenses. Using this confusion, Colonel Tay's ship slipped through the battle. They approached the massive Vex command ship from below, where the defenses were weakest. "Prepare for boarding," Tai ordered. The ship attached to the hull of the Vex vessel. Using cutting tools, they created an entrance and slipped inside. The Vex were not prepared for intruders. Their internal security was minimal. Most of their forces were focused on the space battle. "They never expected anyone to try this," Ta said. "No one in the Galactic Council would ever think to board an enemy vessel during battle." Fighting through light resistance, they reached the central computer room. Sergeant Choi's team quickly connected devices to download all the data. "I'm in," one of the technicians said, "downloading everything now." What they found shocked them. The computer contained messages between Vex commanders and 3 high-ranking Galactic Council members. These council members had been secretly directing the war, providing the Vex with information about Alori defenses and biology. "This is worse than we thought," Ta said. "The Council isn't just manipulating species. Some members are actively working to eliminate races they consider threats to their power." As they finished downloading the data, alarms blared throughout the ship. The Vex had discovered them. "Time to go," Tai ordered. But getting out wouldn't be as easy as getting in. The Vex had sealed all exits. Back on the Defiance, Admiral Ju received a distress call from Colonel Ta. "We have the proof," he said, "but we're trapped. We need a way out." Admiral Ju made a quick decision. "Hold tight, Colonel. We're coming to get you." She turned to her weapons officer. "Target the Vex command ship's engine section. Not to destroy, just enough damage to distract them." The human way of war was about to reach a new level of unpredictability. The Vex command ship shook as Admiral Ju's weapons hit their target. Alarms blared throughout the vessel. The Vex crew rushed to contain the damage to their engines. Using this distraction, Colonel Tai led his team through the corridors toward their entry point. They fought through small groups of Vex soldiers, moving quickly. "The download is complete," Sergeant Choi said, holding up the data device. "We have everything we need." They reached their ship and detached from the Vex vessel just as more enemy troops arrived. As they sped away, the Vex command ship turned to pursue them. "All ships, focus fire on the Vex flagship's weapons," Admiral Ju ordered. "Give Colonel Tay's team cover to escape." The Earth fleet responded immediately. They attacked from multiple angles, confusing the Vex defenses. The Alori ships, now fighting with human tactics, joined the assault. "The Vex fleet is breaking formation," reported Ju's second-in-command. "They're trying to regroup, but they can't coordinate their movements." Admiral Ju nodded. "They don't know how to handle chaos. Send a message to the Vex commander. Tell them we have proof of the Council's betrayal. Tell them they've been used as pawns just like the Alori." On the Vex command ship, the message caused confusion. The commanders argued among themselves. Some wanted to continue fighting. Others wanted to see the evidence. While they debated, Colonel Tay's ship reached the safety of the Defiance. He rushed to the bridge with the data device. "Admiral, you need to see this," he said, handing it to her. "The Council members who have been directing the Vex, they've done this before. They've engineered wars between species for centuries." Admiral Ju reviewed the data. Her face hardened. "Send this to all ships, Vex, Alori, and Council observers. Everyone should see the truth." As the data spread, the fighting slowed, then stopped. The Vex, learning they had been manipulated, withdrew their forces to their home territory. They sent a message to Earth. "This conflict is not of our making. We will discuss terms of peace." Admiral Ju turned to Colonel Ta. "We've won the battle. Now for the harder part, dealing with the Council." On the Galactic Council station, an emergency session was called. All member species sent representatives. For the first time, humans were invited, not as observers, but as accusers. Ambassador Kim stood before the full council. Behind him stood Admiral Ju, Colonel Tai, and the rest of the human team. Jin and other Alori representatives watched from the side. "We have evidence," Kim said, "that members of this council have been engineering conflicts between species. They have used the Vex and Alori as pawns in their game. And they have done this many times before." The council chamber erupted in shouts and denials. But the evidence was clear. 3 council members were arrested for their crimes. "This changes nothing about humans," one counselor argued. "They are still too unpredictable, too dangerous to allow free movement in the galaxy. That is exactly why you should not make enemies of us." Admiral Ju replied. "Earth demands new terms for human participation in galactic affairs. No more exclusion, full diplomatic recognition, and oversight to prevent future manufactured conflicts." After days of debate, the Council agreed to Earth's terms. A new treaty was signed, one that recognized humans as equals, not tools to be used and discarded. On the final day of negotiations, Colonel Ta stood with Jin on a balcony overlooking the Council station. Below them, human and Alori ships prepared to return home. "Why do humans fight so differently than other species?" Jin asked. "We evolved on a harsh, unpredictable planet," Ta explained. "To survive, we learned to adapt, to think for ourselves, to solve problems in new ways. We don't just follow orders, we question them, improve them." Jin looked at the Earth ships. "The Council didn't just underestimate your capacity for war, they underestimated your capacity for justice." Ta smiled. "That's the thing about humans. We're full of surprises." In the council chamber, a new accord was being written. At Ambassador Kim's insistence, it contained a clear warning in its opening lines. "The species of Earth must never be treated as pawns in galactic conflicts. Involve humans in your wars at your own peril." The Galactic Council had learned its lesson. Humans were not tools to be used and set aside. They were a force that would shape the galaxy's future in ways no one could predict.